Morning, guys. Hope y'all doing well. You know, some things never change. Even if you want them to. And part of the path is realizing that it's just out of your control. And that you can't, even though there's some things out of your control, they won't change. Don't let it change you for the worse. I went to my grandparents' house yesterday. That'd be the first time I've made contact with them in over a year. Going on probably 2 years. Why did I go over there? Well, I went over there to share the info with them and show them what I saw on the tax assessor website about their property. How there's another man that's not a part of the family that for some reason is linked onto their property. And that this other man has somebody in their on their deed with almost the exact same name as my grandfather. Very close, oddly close. Kind of looks like the precursor to some fraud, maybe. And so I went there and informed him about it to let them know. I also was hoping to maybe get some answers about my memories, my past. That's the part that really doesn't change. I just got gaslit and lied to. They pretty much told me that everything I remember is a dream, or they're not going to give me any info. None. Very, very tight-lipped. They're very good. The thing is, though, it's like, guys, one, Grandpa didn't even recognize me at the door. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I'm not gonna, for you to try to tell me that, to question my memories and try to act as if I'm not remembering things correctly. When the man didn't even recognize his own grandson at the door. And one thing I noticed too is that a lot of times when I go and see them, and this was happening before I went no contact, I would notice that it made my grandmother uneasy and the other members of the family uneasy when I spent more alone time with my grandfather. We used to go fishing a lot. And a lot of times what would end up happening is my grandfather would confuse me for my father because we look similar. And he'd start telling me memories and stories that he had with my dad. And the thing is these memories he would share would be related to this occult. He would tell me things that he was doing it in mistake, but it was too much. And they didn't like that. I wasn't soliciting this stuff from him, but it was relating to a lot of these odd memories that I have coming back, or that I had coming back. I've got them back now. I know what happened. Very much know. I also picked up on the fact that pictures that they used to have hanging on the wall in our picture books started going missing when I started having questions. And what's unfortunate is I'm close to my grandfather, and I have a good feeling that he was the medium as well. And it's unfortunate because I noticed what happened yesterday and what has happened before is whenever I get alone time with my grandfather, Grandma comes in and steps in. I almost have a feeling that my grandfather's going through what they call elder abuse. When I told them about that man on the tax assessor being on the property in an odd way, Grandpa seemed legitimately confused about it, and he actually wanted to go to the tax assessor in person. I had recommended him that. I said, you should probably go to the tax assessor. And I also told him, I said, look, I'm not trying to, and I recorded every bit of our conversation so that no one could strew what happened. But I told him, I said, that's what I would do if I was you, is go to the tax assessor and figure this out in person. But my grandmother suggested that they use some attorney. Apparently there's some attorney at their church who they have all this trust in that's been handling a lot of this stuff for them recently. Now, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, this is going to tie into a lot of the points I make about these church people, especially these ones that are yoked up in these occult groups that are just fronts for pedophile rings. The last person from the church that they put all their faith in with their finances stole a bunch of money from them. Or at least that's the story I was told. He was some financial advisor, stole a bunch of money from my folks, and then skipped town. So when they tell me that they've got some new man from the church that they've got their faith in handling their business, and then all of a sudden, what a coincidence, some odd thing happens on the tax assessor site where some man that's not really a part of the family, that's got somebody with a weird name that's very close to my grandfather, pops up, linked up to the same property they're in. It's odd. What an odd coincidence. But again, when you come from these occult families, things do get odd like that. Especially and unfortunately, when people get older and the question starts to be on people's minds about who are they going to leave things to. My uncle seemed to be real concerned about that. I can remember him saying something to my dad about wanting to buy him out of his right to the property or something like that. Very weird stuff. This kind of behavior, and then all the memories I have growing up and being used as a child clairvoyant for their rituals is why I'll never, ever have a Masonic drop in my household. And I will very much raise my voice and let everyone know about the wickedness that comes from that organization and from the families involved in that organization. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, guys, if you're in and you're young enough and hadn't gotten deep enough to pull out, you need to get out. Because I'm going to tell you, it don't get better the longer you're there. They turn on you eventually. All your brothers, yeah. But hey, Don't take my word for it. Some people just got to figure it out themselves, so. But it's unfortunate. But I at least feel good about going up there and at least telling them what I saw. That way, if they really didn't have any knowledge about that weird discrepancy, they could go handle it themselves. You know, I pulled up the documents and left it on their tablet so that when they go to the tax assessor, they can have a copy of it. My brother was there, which, I mean, you know, sometimes they go visit, but like I said, guys, some things don't change, but don't let that change you.